How are you, William?
We're good. Just came over from Dubai.
How is
to
it?
see you.
William,
That's
will you
good.
please
I mean, that's where I
stay,
live.
sir?
Oh, you live in Dubai?
I do.
What's up with Dubai? What's it like living there?
That's amazing. I mean, it's like an international space station. Like, it's
Oh,
every
that's-
country in the world is there.
That's awesome.
So I love that about it.
I liked it when I was there.
What'd you come in
Great
for?
time. Well, we filmed in Abu Dhabi
Oh, yeah, of course.
for Fast 7.
Yeah, excellent.
It was a great
What was the best thing you did there?
hung out with a Tigon, or a liger, to be
A liger.
honest. Yeah.
Trying to, like, think of what
At the
the...
Maktoums, yeah, I was hanging out with this liger. It's just the biggest cat you've ever seen in the world, and I'm just looking at him from one beast to another, and I'm just like, I know your pain.
It's the thing everybody says.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it happens every day.
All right.
Perfect. Let's talk about
Yeah.
Bloodshot. So, I mean, obviously you're someone who's, incredibly in demand, but I think you choose things very carefully.
I do.
So what did Bloodshot allow you to do that nothing else had before?
Well, great question. First of all, it was so clearly a different take on the superhero narrative. A different approach to this genre that we've, over the last decade, become all too familiar with. The idea of playing a superhero that at no point declares to be heroic, but through constant torture, so to speak, it's a little more Spartacus than anything else. He wants to break free, and that was interesting to me. We know that Bloodshot was a New York Times bestseller, so obviously the writing and the story has been already proven. I like kind of the underdog spirit. With 80-something million copies sold, it's still not DC and Marvel, and there's fun there to champion the underdog, which is Valiant Comic Books in this case. I do everything I do is motivated by love, but this is a different spin on that concept. They're torturing him and turning him into a killer by breaking his heart every day in his dreams. That's intense. It was very clear. I thought, initially that before I had read the script, they want me to play a superhero for the obvious kind of reasons, and it was clear to me that they were going for, they wanted a true thespian approach to this crazy, mentally ill, albeit induced by RST character, batshit crazy character. That was interesting. That was a challenge. I normally play characters that are very in control, and this character was not at all in control of his life. And I think people walk out of the theater and will maybe question what's real in their own lives and who's manipulating them.
Yeah, the manufacturing consent aspect.
Yeah, like, whoa, yeah. Totally, I think this will be a thought-provoking experience for people. I think they'll have fun, and I think it'll be a thought-provoking experience. That's what drew me to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can tackle a role. I mean, I think Find Me Guilty was always a favorite for me.
A totally other different experience.
Yeah.
I was playing a character, and somebody was asking me the other day in an interview, which characters are most like me. They're all have pieces of me, but I was thinking about Fat Jack DiNarcio that I played, and he very much, I'm very similar to that spirit. I believe you love your family forever, no matter what, and that loyalty that lives in Find Me Guilty. I make those choices. I remember I did Find Me Guilty, and Steven Spielberg called me and said, "What are you doing? You're doing all different kinds of roles." And I said, "Is that wrong?" He said, "No, continue to do it."
I mean, when you were, I think, 26, you were in class and you had to write an obituary for yourself. And that kind of thrusted your career forward.
That's true.
How much have you lived that life that you wrote out for yourself? And what do you feel like you still have left?
I feel like I lived out more than I wrote out for myself in some ways. And at the same time, speaking of Steven Spielberg, I saw him recently, and he had said to me, when I wrote the role for you in Saving Private Ryan, I was obviously employing the actor in you, but I was also secretly championing the director in you, and you have not directed enough. And that is a crime in cinema, and you must get back to the director's chair. You just have to block out all the corporations and all the studios and just do it. I haven't directed enough, and everyone knows for the last 20 years I've been wanting to direct the Hannibal Barker trilogy, and I haven't done it yet. So as much as I am grateful for the accomplishments, there are moments when I go, God, Vin, you owe it. You have promised the universe, very specifically the Hannibal Barker trilogy, and you haven't delivered it. You traveled all over the world. I was in Egypt and Tunisia, and I was in Spain, and I crossed the Alps for Hannibal. I did so much research for this, but I still haven't carved out the time to do it. But when I was in Sundance, I had Strays, another young director, actor, writer, that did the same thing I did, created a movie, and Swingers. And it's so funny because we were both alumni at Sundance, filmmakers, and he goes off to do Lion King and Iron Man and all these great movies, and it's fascinating. And I kind of go, God, Steven's right. I've got to find a way to satisfy the studios, satisfy the corporations, keep this industry alive. Obviously, there's the threat of the cinematic experience. And when you make movies like this or Fast 9, you are protecting that thing that may not be here forever, which is that cinematic social experience. And so I also have to, although I have to do that, I also have to continue the director's journey at some point.
I hope you do, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Great to speak with you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Say hello to Dubai for me, man.